4, where we talk StarCraft. I am with my good friend Exo. Exo, say hi.
Hello there. I didn't just say hi, I said hello there.
Oh.
Welcome to episode 4, literally 1 week after episode 3. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so the reason that we've kind of been away is because there just hasn't been that much going on in the StarCraft world. We have been in talks about maybe doing a couple of filler episodes. Maybe we'll do those in future, and hopefully we'll have a bit of fun talking about other things that are going on in the gaming community. But seeing as right now we're focusing on StarCraft, and because StarCraft hasn't been having too much happening after GSL versus the world.
You say that. You say
I
that,
say
man.
that. I say that.
Pylon Show disagrees with you, but yeah.
Brilliant.
Sorry.
Yeah, so this week we'll talk a bit about the Challenger, talk a bit about Montreal, the upcoming WCS event. We've got some other news, some various topics that we want to talk about, and then we'll go into This Week on Ladder, which is our joyous section.
That's our favourite section, yeah.
Yeah, man. Okay, so yeah, let's jump right in. Let's talk Challenger. So, Exo, how much of Challenger have you actually watched?
I wanted to watch it all, and I had pretty much everything planned out. Like, I had the time available to watch it, and then I just kind of didn't.
Okay.
So I've seen odd bits and pieces. I saw the NA round playoffs, and I saw most of the EU playoffs. I can't remember who won the NA playoffs now. Oh yeah, it was Neve versus Scarlet, and Neve won it.
Yeah, that was quite interesting because it was Scarlet, I think, was playing from Korea. If I'm
No, Neve was playing from Korea. Scarlet was playing from China.
China.
They'd both been in China the previous day, but Neve had flown home. But apparently, Scarlet's body clock was all fucked up or something, and she had had no sleep. So they were both pretty tired, I think.
I'm really impressed that Scarlet got into the finals in the with I've traveled quite a lot in my life, and yeah, doing the whole time zone hop thing is not a nice experience.
And True in the semi-finals, it was Scarlet versus True, and True just didn't want to die. It went to game 5, and every game Scarlet was winning. But True was just I'm not dying. I was like, you're gonna have to come and kill me. And
yeah.
Oh god.
It took a very long time to actually kill True. It was
a
bit unfortunate for Scarlet because it kind of put this big time constraint on the finals, and it did feel like Scarlet kind of just wanted it over and done with to a degree. And
well, I didn't actually see the games versus Neve because I fell asleep. So.
Yeah, it went on pretty late actually. In the UK, I think it ended at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But I watched it because it was a bank holiday, so yeah, it was pretty good. But as I say, the games were pretty short. Scarlet, for the most part, tried all-ins, all very aggressive builds, let's say. They were fun to watch, but she did go down 3-0 versus Neve, which, I would have expected... Oh, 4-0, sorry. I would have expected her to take 1-2 maps off of Neve. But...
Well, she won in China the previous day, which I think was something the casters were saying.
Yeah.
So
which is
again,
why it was surprising that she, as we say, her body clock was way off.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, it's a rough one. Actually, talking about the EU a bit. So I was the same as you. I kind of had time to watch it, and I did watch some round-offs and some qualifiers, but mostly I watched the semis and finals.
Yeah.
And one game that really interested me, obviously, Cyril won the EU Challenger. That was kind of written in stone at this point, I think.
Yeah.
But he was actually 2-0 down versus a laser. I don't know if you saw this. And then Cyril got the all kill 4-2.
So I didn't see the games, but I did hear about this.
Yeah.
Again, I got. Because it was a laser versus who was it in the brand before that? It was a Protoss player. And a laser went down 2-0 versus this Protoss player. Oh no, he was 2-0 up, and then the Protoss player started coming back and brought it back to 2-2, and then eventually lost the 5th game.
Hmm.
It's quite a good series actually. Or was it a Terran player? I can't remember. I don't know. Oh, I'm trying to find the qualifiers now so I can
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
nail
So
playoffs.
I guess like it's kind of what you've been saying in the past, XO, of like a laser like ZVZ is looking really good, but
Yeah,
like, and he can kind of like seeing him go toe to toe. I know like I will say like maybe only game two where a laser kind of went toe to toe with Cyril, but it was kind of nice seeing at least someone giving him a challenge for a change
yeah.
in Challenger. We um, sorry,
Hey.
that was really bad.
That was awful,
I
man. I
know,
love that.
yeah. Oh god, I'm going to regret that one. But yeah, I mean, Cyril kind of won that one, kind of convincingly, kind of going like winning 4 games in a row was really impressive by him.
Yeah, and again, the I think what's interesting or awesome about that is really is this the showing because Cyril's been so consistent. Is this the showing that other players are now starting to catch up? Not
Yeah,
that Laser's getting that Scar Cyril's getting worse, but other people are
yeah,
getting
other
better.
people's are getting to be at that level that Cyril is at. And to be honest, I'm kind of waiting for that, like to see that chink in the armor. And I think
Yeah,
like Alaza showed us that. And I think like it's a really good time because obviously like BlizzCon is just on the horizon. So like
yeah,
seeing that chink in the armor just before we go into BlizzCon is really exciting to me because it means that maybe more foreigners have a bit of a chance at BlizzCon. But
yeah,
I think like last year, the big showing was probably I want to say major special.
yeah.
Special obviously made it to like the quarter or
Round,
semifinals, which was really impressive.
yeah, it was round of four, I think. I
Round
think
of four, yeah, that was
yeah.
really really good by him. And I think like the person last year, like who was in Cyril's position, was Neeb, and I think he got kicked out in the round of 16, or was it
Yeah.
8?
Was it to Dark? That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, I think it might have been to Dark.
Oh man, Dark's has been squatting our knee boy down so long, so
um,
long.
yeah, but I mean, Neeb, I think has been like not as consistent this year, of course, but like I think in the US Challenger League, like he really turned up. So like I'm really excited to
Yeah,
see more of Neeb, like especially in Montreal if he's here, which we'll
I,
talk about in a little sec. He is there. Cool.
yeah, he is. I really want him. Like I say, I've been struggling to be a fan of Neeb since we've been doing the Depot show, at the very least.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
be a fan of him, and I really wish that I don't know, that he would almost drop the. I don't know. He's like sometimes he's like over nice but like inconfident, and I feel like this is where like Cyril's. Maybe I'm reading way too much into the personality thing. But like Cyril is like, yeah, I know I'm good at this game. I take this game seriously. I train hard for it. And Neva's like almost prepubescent in that respect. Where he's like, well, I really want to work hard at this game, but oh man, it's really difficult. I'm just happy to be out here and no, Neve, fucking turn shit. Dark is like, I'm gonna kill you, motherfucker. You gotta respond. Take a game off him, man. God damn it. Sorry, I got hyped.
Oh god, I wasn't expecting that. That was really. I like that.
I get so worked up when it comes to Neve.
No,
I
no,
love him.
it's well, it's interesting, right? Because I mean, like these people, obviously like have kind of backgrounds where they probably haven't been in these positions before, where they're like,
Yeah.
doing this trash talky thing, and now they're expecting to do these trash talky things, and like Neeb is like the stereotypical, oh yeah, I'm just here because like I love the crowd and love my fans, but yeah, you need to be like, no, I'm going out there to kill, kill, kill.
Yeah. I remember when the Koreans had less personality than the foreigners.
Oh
Now,
yeah, yeah, and now like
now
the
it
Koreans
doesn't
are
feel like that so
having
much.
like way more personality. It's really nice to see, like, because like a couple of years ago when like the scene, when first started watching the scene, um, there was only like one, maybe two people who had like this really big personality. Like I would say someone like Idra had like quite a big
Yeah.
like personality and really went after like a couple of people in a trash talky like fun kind of way. And no one was there to like respond to him, and it didn't feel like the scene was ready for that sort of thing because everyone was kind of like in their shell, not really knowing how to respond to this. But
And I
like
think
now it's
oh,
been around a couple of years. Sorry, now it's been around a couple of years, and people like kind of expect it. They know how to like get
hmm,
back at people, and it's really nice, as you say, to see the Koreans like kind of playing into that a bit.
yeah. Well, it was like again, brief history. In 2011 and 2012, it was like, man, the scene was really trying to generate that narrative that there were like rivalries and stuff, and that's why Idra Huck was like a big one,
Yeah,
just because it was like
they were
Huck.
trying so hard, but the players just weren't having any of it. They were like, "Oh man, the personalities weren't there for what the hype that they were trying to generate."
Yeah, they wanted it. Oh, it's good stuff, man.
Yeah, I remember like when they try to commentate like this long running like not Cyril, like Idra has lost to this person 4 times and now he's
Yeah.
angry, but then he comes out on stage and like waves to people and like,
No,
hey guys, how's it going, I'm so glad to be here. It's like, no, come on, like put on
don't you
your
remember that?
war face. Like,
Don't you remember that one time where he didn't shake that dude's hand?
oh
Oh, I thought it was like the bad boys in
yeah, yeah,
StarCraft. They're
yeah.
like,
I
don't
was like,
GG.
oh man, there was threads on Reddit for days just going, oh, Idra is so disrespectful. I was like, oh,
Oh. They love it, man. They love it.
hilarious, hilarious. Cool. Want to move on to Montreal?
Yes, I did have. Oh, it's something else I wanted to mention,
Mm-hmm.
slightly in relation to the foreigners having personality. This is again other news, but before we go into Montreal, did you hear about the parting and Nathaniel situation?
No,
Are you not aware of this at all? Oh, okay,
no,
this
no.
is like, see, this is what happens when you say nothing is happening and stuff. So basically, what happened was Nathaniel was laddering, streaming, and Parting dropped an account to 5K. I like how people say dropped an account to 5K. And I have 4.5K in my best race, and I'm like struggling. Anyway, Parting dropped an account to 5K and was ranking up, doing troll builds basically. And basically, he ended up trolling Nathanius. Nathanius was a bit salty about it, as you'd be. But then, like, a load of the viewers started spamming each other, and it got into this really ridiculous kind of like war. Where and then Parting watched back Nathanius's stream, laughing at him
Oh
being
no.
salty about the fact that he was trolling. So it was like a super salty situation. Again, Reddit loved it.
Yeah.
I think most people end up kind of supporting Nathanius in the sense that yeah, he was a bit salty, but he didn't really do anything. And
Yeah, I guess like without putting too much thought into it, it's always like a bad day when you like discover someone on ladder that is like a thousand like MMR better than you, and they just roll over you.
yeah,
But I don't know. I
Okay.
haven't put too much thought into it, so I don't know.
no,
Like,
no, I continue. You haven't heard about it. That's
yeah,
fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
It was just one of those sort of things, and then it did inspire a conversation about should again, what do we do to combat like people dropping accounts and barcodes and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because like, I've kind of had this recently, and this is kind of getting into this week on ladder. But yeah, because I've been playing a lot of Zerg games, and I'm like, my main race is Terran. I kind of dropped my account to gold because that's where I thought my skill level was at, but my skill level like kind of increased quite rapidly because I've been playing this game for several years, and I did end up beating quite a lot of people, and you know that was me just genuinely doing that, not like
yeah,
trying to be a troll.
yeah, you're trying your best. Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, it's kind of hard to see where the line is, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Intent is so big a part of it, and that's what makes it difficult to like judge. So yeah, well, that was just an interesting random tidbit.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, Montreal is happening on is it the 6th or the 7th, or 6th and 7th?
Maybe
and
6th
8th?
and 7th.
Oh no, 6th is next Thursday. So it's probably
start date on the 7th, end date on the 9th.
nice, nice.
Yeah, so it will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as per usual, which is really nice because last time I think they started it on the Wednesday, didn't they? So it went like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I think it was because of football or some other
Yeah,
sporting
yeah, that
event.
was it. It was literally the World Cup
The
finals on
World Cup
Sunday.
final, that was it.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of got back to the one bad thing I will say though is that being a 9 to 5er, working Monday to Friday, like staying up for the finals is actually really difficult for me. So I
Yeah.
normally have to like catch up on things on Monday. But yeah, I can't
It's,
complain too hard. You know, that's how I
it's,
make my money.
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Aside from the fact that I'm being sent away for work next week, and I come back late Thursday evening, and as far as I'm aware, I don't have to work Friday, so I'm gonna at least catch up Friday and get all of that
Nice.
goodness, and hopefully the rest. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What's the players we've got in here?
Yeah, so let's talk about those players. Okay. Oh, Protoss. I just noticed actually going down the list of Protoss players. So no notable open sign-up players have been announced yet, unfortunately. As per usual with this show, we'll probably say, "Oh, they haven't been announced yet," and then right after the show, they'll be announced, and we'll just writhe in anger, I guess, until next week.
Wait, is there actually an open qualifier for?
I have no idea, mate.
for... I think it's a round of 16 tournament, and it's purely based off of who got in based off the regional qualifiers. So I don't think there's any
Okay.
sign-up players because this is the whole roster.
Okay, fair enough.
I think. So yeah.
So the first name in the Protoss column, I guess, is Cyan. So he was in GSL versus the World as that weird Chinese player that the people didn't really vote on.
Yeah, who was the Chinese representative or something.
Yeah, that was pretty weird, and I think we said like we don't think we saw what he was really capable of in GSL versus the World. So
well, apparently he.
No, I think he like dropped like 3-0, 3-0. Like
He
even
did,
in the
yeah.
show matches, like I think it was like he lost quite convincingly. So I guess it will be kind of interesting to see what he's going to produce here. I mean, hopefully he can get out of groups and we can see a few games from him, but we'll see, I
Yeah.
guess. Next is Haas, then Neeb and Probe.
So Probe is actually a little bit of one here. I think he must have got in through the Australian qualifier. He's Australian, right?
Yeah, I think that's Australian flag.
Lovely. So yeah, that's interesting because I've heard good things about him, but I haven't really seen his play very much. So whereas Haas and Nia we know very well,
Mm-hmm.
or at least I know very well. Probe I'm not so familiar with, so it'll be interesting to see how well he can do, and hopefully he can represent.
Yeah. Probe isn't a name that I've particularly heard being thrown around, so I guess it will be interesting to see some new blood in the WCS.
Is Maynard casting?
I believe like casters. We've got.
Oh, he's not on the list. Oh no.
So we've got Nathanius Smix as hosts, Fear Dragon, In Control Pig, Rotterdam Zombie Grub as commentators, Insano and Mapu TV as observers.
Okay, well at least we've got Pig, so we can have the Australian hype when Probe.
Yeah, no doubt. That would be fun. I haven't actually seen Pig commentate too much.
Have you not?
Like not live events.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
I've seen him do a few.
So Terran players. We've got Expect, Hut, Kelazorb, Massa, Special, and Euthermal. So I think like the only two that I'm not aware of, I guess, are Expect and Hut. I think Expect was at the last WCS event.
Okay, I was about to say, yeah, I'm not familiar with either of those either, so.
Yeah, Kelazor and Special, obviously I'm hoping for really good things. Massa, I'm just excited to see wherever the hell that guy throws out, because that guy has been proxying like the best of them. Euthermal, did I say Special and Euthermal I'm expecting good things of. Kelazor, like, he keeps on qualifying for these events, but then keeps on like getting Serral really, really early.
Yes,
So,
that's a good point.
like, I feel really sorry for the guy. Like, I really do hope that he can have like a really deep run. I think like the only person in like the Terran lineup that has like is going into BlizzCon on points is Special. And
It's such
that
a fanboy.
Yeah, I know, right? I love the guy. But yeah, no matter what he does here, he's still in BlizzCon, so he
Yeah,
can like drop out in groups and he'll still be there. So that's good to hear, I guess. And of course,
yeah.
like Cyril's going to be there, but
It's interesting. I'm really excited by Terran play at the minute. I think they're doing really good things in kind of blood boiling kind of ways. Like they've been putting up with shit for too long.
yeah, yeah,
And now you see, yeah, it's like Massa does the whole kind of mind games. Okay, one game I'm gonna put my barracks at the natural, just out of sight,
yeah.
and then next game I'm gonna proxy everything, and then like, and again, I think it's good. It's like we've seen Zerg players kind of taking advantage of a lot of these sort of things where it's like, well, I'm just gonna scout and sort of react kind of a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, just any kind of messing that up, and again, just it fucks Protoss up really hard as well.
I think like for me, it's just exciting to see more foreign Terran players doing really well. Like
Yeah.
Telazor, Special, Uthermal, and Massa have been like the staple four this year. Like they've
Yeah.
been doing really well this year, I think, and it's really nice to see that like the foreign Terran scene is finally growing a little bit because like I think it's been lacking in the last couple of years. And
I
I think like
agree.
the only person to represent the race for like in a foreign like outside of Korea is Special.
Yeah, and he is mini Korean basically. He is
Yeah,
like,
because he spends like 99% of his time in Korea.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's things. And then there's for the Zergs we have Elazer, Lambo, Scarlet, Cyril, Tudming, and True.
Oh, I actually read that as 2DMing.
You don't know who Tudming is? Oh my
No,
god.
no.
See, thank God you have me here. We have fucking you're like Artosis.
Wow,
Mini
wow.
GG 19 or whatever. Gemini. Oh, that's an old meme. Okay, anyway. Um, so yeah, again, this is again staple lineup of Zerg as well. Scarlet, Lambo, Cyril, and Elazer have all been very staple Zergs. And I think Lambo's been doing really well. I feel
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
almost. I feel like he's not being talked about enough because Scarlet, Cyril, and Elazer do so well.
Yeah, no, it's really it's kind of sad to see because I think like Lambo is doing like really really well, but yeah, because of these like really big Zerg names this year, like Cyril has been massive. Scarlet and Laser of course have been doing really well. Like
Yeah.
no other Zerg player is getting too much of like a look in, I guess.
Yeah, to the point where like True on this list, even though he was very strong versus Scarlet, as we talked about a little while ago, in the NA qualifiers, like yeah, he's just doesn't seem as like fearful of like he doesn't seem like as big a name, which is really weird to say.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
And Tudming is less known, like as a great player, but he's been around for a while. So I've seen a few of his plays before. I think he's a Chinese player.
There is the
Um,
Chinese flag.
oh, there you go, there you go. So yeah, no, again, interesting lineups. Reasonable race distribution. Obviously, Protoss underrepresented, but yeah, not too bad overall.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. As I say, it's nice to see a couple more like foreign Terran players getting in there.
Yeah.
I kind of wish like there was at least one more Protoss player because it does seem a bit lacking on the Protoss side, I guess. But
Yeah, I think
if you were gonna throw in another Protoss player, who would you want it to be?
Showtime.
Showtime, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty much just a Showtime fan at this point, and I kind of need to check back through the EU qualifier to see why he didn't get in.
Mm,
I wonder who took him out. Maybe it was Cyril or.
maybe. I guess like the
Uh,
big question of this WCS is, I mean, who can take out Cyril here? I don't think like, I think like I come back to my favorite of the Terrans is Special. Like
you want a special Cyril final?
I really do. I kind of want it to happen, but I know that it never will because like I think like normally how they place out the brackets is like don't they put like the better performing players at one end of the bracket and like the worse off players in another
Okay.
side of the
No,
bracket, or is it random?
I don't know if it's random. I think what you're referring to is when it's like the best player will face one of the worst players. The highest seed player will face the lowest seed player.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no two people who finished qualified first in either region will face each other until the finals. So
Right.
if Special came first in the in his regional um, qualifiers, then he can't face Cyril until the final, I think. But if he came second or third or fourth, because it was no, there was four regional qualifiers from each, wasn't it? Something like that. No, how did this go? Ba-da-da. I don't know what I'm
I'm
talking
glad
about.
that you can't remember. But
So
I
yeah, as usual, we're recording this before the brackets come
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
We
it's
don't know when they're
really
going to come out.
unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Looking at the lineup though, I mean, if Special gets through the groups, because I think that's where like Special really like doesn't do very well, because like he
Mhm.
can't prepare for his opponents as well. Like I think like if he gets through groups, which I'm pretty sure he will, like I don't see a name that could take him out too convincingly. Like maybe a Lambo or a Laser or Scarlet. Like one of the Zerg players might be able to take him out. But I mean, like, I'm, yeah. But then I go to the Protossers, and I'm like, maybe Neeb can take him out. Like, I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah,
his TVP has been doing.
yeah, and that's it. And well, I mean, in relation to that, this gets to a really weird situation because out of the Protoss we have here, Cyan, again, we didn't really see his full potential, so he's a bit of an unknown still.
Hmm.
But Haas and I think Probe as well are a bit more cheesy players. Probe not on the
Right.
same level as Haas. I might be totally wrong there, so sorry to Probe if he somehow watches this. I'm sorry. um, so Neve is like really the only scary macro toss, like who we know can take it late game and be really scary. So I think that like puts this into a really weird situation where Protoss are. We're gonna have this situation of where I feel if Special loses to any Protoss, it's because he's underprepared.
Yeah.
Because like that, and that'd be really sad to see, especially when he went out to Haas before,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which he said it would never happen again. I would love
I
them to get matched up.
I would really enjoy them to be like in groups together, because I think like to watch Special defeat Haas again, that would be like that would make my day. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of scary names for Special to look out for, but I'm sure that he is like practicing his heart out right now. So I'm
Yeah,
kind of hoping that like he at least makes the semi-finals this tournament, because as I say, like maybe one or two players can knock him out, but as I say, I don't think any of the Terrans can touch him.
yeah. Well, what I really want is, and this is kind of an odd thing to say, but I want Cyril on Cyril's side of the bracket for there to be, if this is going to go Cyril special,
Hmm.
I want Cyril to go through Scarlet and a Laser because both of those are very good thugs who have shown that they can at least go toe to toe with him
Yeah.
in the matchup. And again, Scarlet came really close to Valencia, knocking him out. It went to game 5.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think on a good day, I think she can do it. So I would
Yep.
really love. So, but in a best of 7 in the finals, I don't think so. I think it needs to be kind of like,
Best of
kind of,
5.
yeah, at most, I think it
Yeah.
can be that. So if Cyril gets a ZVZ path to the finals, where he has to take out the good Zerg players, I think that'll be the most likely way him getting defeated. If it does go Cyril special, man, I love special, but I don't think he can do it. I and only because when he lost against Reyna in was it Reyna?
Yep.
Yeah. When he lost against Reyna, it was just like Reyna was like radiating youthful energy, and it was just like special just couldn't kill him. And it was like really sad. And again, they were close games, even though it was like a 3-0. So again, but then Special maybe has prepared more for Cyril and like understands it. I think that's his greatest strength. And Cyril has the target on his back,
Yeah.
He's like
Yeah.
widely now considered the best player in the world. And if he gets BlizzCon, he will absolutely be considered the best player in the world. But like the target on his back, man, when you're number 1, the target
Yeah,
is
yeah, it's
huge.
massive. But I think like maybe like someone like Special, I fear that like he might tunnel vision on Cyril,
Yeah,
and
then
then
lose
like
to fucking...
focus too much on that matchup, and then be like matched up with someone like Cyan, and then just lose a TVP. Like, I'm kind of
Honestly,
hoping that doesn't happen because, of course, like I'm a huge special fanboy. But yeah,
but I think what you say is really right though, because special TVT is incredible.
yep,
So again, none of the Terrans in that bracket look particularly scary
no one close
against
to
him.
him.
We know that TVP, he's pretty good at it. He
He's
can deal
really
with a
good.
cheesy style of pass.
Yep.
I think he's overcome his knee block from like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago.
Oh,
And again, I don't know if Probe and Cyan can hold up as much of a fight. So
yeah,
again,
yeah.
that only leads the Zergs. And again, if he gets Scarlet and a laser, again, Scarlet and a laser are like wild cards in this. I feel like they are capable of taking out anyone. So it really comes down to the brackets.
Yeah, no doubt. I think like if special is going to go out, I think it will be in a TVZ. Like watching it in GSL versus the world, his TVZ is like really top form at the minute, but I don't think he's as good as like say Maru, who's like of course he's not as good as Maru because Maru is like the best Terran in the world right now. But I don't like if it was like one matchup I think special is not very good at the minute is probably his TVZ. So he's probably focusing a lot on that in the run up to Montreal.
What do you think about Euthermal?
Euthermal?
He's come back really strong after he had his little Protoss break.
Yeah. I think no,
He's come back really
Euthermal.
strong.
I'm really like I love Thermi. Like I really enjoy watching him play. I think I think if he gets a good run, he could go really deep. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think if he goes up against a Neeb or like a Scarlet, he just loses. Like I think like Euthermal's TVT actually is really really good from what I've seen of it. His TVZ is not very good, I don't think.
Well, it's interesting because he considers himself I've heard that he considers himself kind of a rival to Cyril. And there was that time where he was like, he thought he could take down Cyril before Cyril had won like 3 major tournaments in a row.
Yeah.
But so I don't know how much that is now. But when I see him, I see just sparks of brilliance. I think he's really
he's a really fantastic Terran player. Like he is like one of the top, like I'd say top 5, like outside of Korea, of course, but.
Yeah, and again, the spark that he has at the minute kind of reminds me of what Kellezer had like a year ago.
Yeah.
And again, and Kellezer like had this like Super Saiyan power up, and then he's kind of like fallen down a bit, but he's maintained that higher level. Like his average is so much higher than it used to be.
Yeah, it's like if I'm gonna get real nerdy here, but if you've seen like the new Dragon Ball Super. And like Goku and Vegeta get Super Saiyan God, but then when they turn into their regular form, they still have some of the God powers.
Yeah.
Like it's basically a bit like that. Like Kelazor is doing really, really well. I'm like, that's what I say. Like I'm really looking forward to Kelazor Special and Euthermal because I think those are like the 3 like really big Terrans this year, and I've really enjoyed. Like I've learned as a like Diamond Terran player, I've been learning so much from watching these guys play. And I think it's been like really really nice for me to kind of like watch these guys play at like such a high level, because like going back a year 2 years, like we didn't like Terran players didn't really have anyone to look up to, maybe Special, but like besides from Special we had Maru, who like is untouchable. Like no one can play like Maru.
Yeah, that's it. Maru make things happen.
Yeah. And Maru is like magic. Like I just don't understand like what's going on in his head like 90% of the time. But like watching someone like Euthermal, Kelazor, or maybe even a Special, at least like you can kind of like almost bring it down to your level where like you can kind of see the cogs turning and things like that.
It's super interesting, and hold on, Mimala incoming. We've been overlooking everything this whole time. Massa and Cyril get rounded up together in the round of 8 or round of 16 or whenever, right? And do you know what happens? Massa proxy 2 racks every game and wins because it has a 100% win rate. How do we not see this happening?
Oh no.
The meme build, it will come back.
I kind of hope that doesn't happen.
No, so do I. But like, if it happens, I fucking called it. Where is Harstam as well? Like, it's a shame they're
Yeah,
not keeping
yeah.
Harstam.
I think there's
Um,
a couple of names not going to Montreal. I'm kind of
yeah,
surprised. Like, when you said Showtime, I was like, wait, why is he not here? Like,
yeah, that's it. It's it. And again, I'm struggling to find the actual brackets for the qualifiers.
hmm.
So I don't know where people went out and that. But again, if this is just like the, I don't know how they're doing it. How they're doing the format this year.
Well,
So
this is like the last WCS event before BlizzCon this year, right? So
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
expecting like only the people that are really expecting to like on the edge of getting into BlizzCon
Oh, that's
show
true.
up
That's
to
true.
this WCS maybe. Like I don't know if any of like these players apart from Cyril and Special are like close to qualifying, but I'm pretty sure like these most of these players are just like
Yeah,
trying to
I'm
get a
actually
couple
gonna.
of extra points into next year or something.
I'm just checking. This is like a 2018 player ranks. I'm just seeing who, because we know Cyril is like.
Yeah, of course. Like the thing is, if you
Here we
win one WCS event, you're automatically entered into BlizzCon at the end of the
go.
year. Cyril has won three, so he has earned himself three spots.
Yeah, so the way it works at the minute is Cyril is first, obviously.
Yep.
Special is second, so
Mhm.
Special is almost guaranteed in.
Yep.
And as you said, Neeb is third, with Showtime close behind him. And then there's a bit of a gap. And then Haas is actually fifth because he
Yeah,
comes second.
he
I guess
nearly won. Yeah. I'm
then
quite.
Nurcho. Oh, nice. Nurcho, who has not been a big name this year, is sixth in the rankings at the minute. That's
Oh
actually
wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. And he's like, and then Hero Marine as well. Is this 20? Yeah, no, of course, 2018 because it's
I think
Sarah.
Hero Marine, like, to be fair to the guy, like, he's been in the background, like, doing really well. Like, as I say, like, of course, like, the three. Oh, God, excuse me. The three kind of staple Terrans for me this year are Kelazor, Special, and U-Thermal, but if I had to pick a fourth, like, it would be Hero Marine. He's been doing really, really well this year. I just don't think he's at the level of, like, U-Thermal or Kelazor,
Yeah,
which is
no,
really
fair.
unfortunate, actually, because I think like if he had like the Kelazor like Super Saiyan moment, like I think he
Yeah,
could get
yeah.
there because Hero Marine has been doing like fantastically this year.
Well, it's only the top eight that get into BlizzCon on the WCS circuit side, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a laser is currently only just holding on, but the only people who can really beat him out are Snoop Man at all True Uthermal, Kelazur, and Scarlet. So
Okay.
if Kelazur, Scarlet, Man or True, or sorry,
I
Manacon.
would like this is just me talking, but I would prefer a Scarlet over an Laser, but
Yeah, agreed.
because
So
I'm
yeah,
quite a
I
big Scarlet fan, but
so if a laser, so again, now we're getting into the real hardcore analysis. If a laser drops out early because he goes up against Cyril or whoever or Special, I'd love to see Special crush a laser.
oh,
Oh
me
man,
too. That would be like my fantasy.
that would be a great matchup. But yeah, if you Thermal does really well, or Kelazur does really well, or Scar does really well, all true. Any of those four players have very realistic chances of getting in if a laser if a laser goes out early, or even if they just do really well and Hero Marine isn't in this one at all. Both Hero Marine and Nurture are kind of like they're in it at the minute, but they could easily be dropped. I think. How many places do you get? You get 3,000 for winning, but obviously you get an immediate spot anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Is it 900 for third? Hang on, I'm trying to work it out live.
Maths is hard life.
Yeah. Don't do maths.
Let's put more pressure on it. Bong.
I love me a bit of countdown. Don't do this. Okay, so second you get 1,400 points. Third you get 900. Then and then 600, 300, 100. It's filtered down. So 1,400 or 900 swing it. I think. Hang on, let me go back and check.
Yeah, this actually I think like this is really exciting for these like four
Yeah,
players who
yeah.
could like edge out a laser because as I say like I would much rather like a Scarlet or a U-Thermal getting into BlizzCon rather than a laser because I feel like Eliza will be like a good, be a good person to get in, but like I think like his only matchup where he would actually like have a chance is his ZVZ.
Is his DVC, yeah.
Whereas like I think like Scarlet has been doing really well in like most matchups. It's just like, as we say, a bit unfortunate that like things like time zones and things have like screwed her up a little bit this year.
Oh my god, hang on. So that would be. Oh my god, math is hard. 935. Oh my god. Okay, it's very unlikely that Scarlet will get in.
No.
Yeah, so basically, if a laser, if a laser goes out at the round of 16, which is like to him get in the round of 16,
like either groups or the first stage, yeah.
Yeah, if he goes out, if he gets to the round of 16, he will have secured a minimum of 300 points.
Right.
If Scarlet then comes second overall, let's say Eliza gets knocked out and Scarlet comes second overall, she'll get 900 points for coming second, and she will have 15 points less than Eliza.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of sucks for her. Like that would have been like fantastic if Scarlet got into BlizzCon, I think.
So yeah, and although I say that, if she got 900 points, that'd be 2,235, which would actually edge out Hero Marine and Nurtio. So apologies.
We're back in,
what
boys.
I just said. We're back in, boys. Yeah, but assuming Nurtio or Hero Marine don't show up and do something,
well,
then
they're not here, so
no, so it looks very likely. So again, if Scarlet comes second, she definitely gets in because she edges out Nurtio and Hero Marine.
Are there any more tournaments this year that give out WCS points?
Let me just check
because I don't think there is. I think this is the last one. I think this is like literally the last event.
According to this, the only things that give points are Challenger, Circuit events, and Global events. I don't think there's any more Global events before.
No, maybe there's a Challenger before it, but
even you only get 200 points for Challenger. All saying that, it would be getting pretty close.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like every point counts at this stage of the game.
What a time! What a time to be alive! Man.
What a time to be alive. This is it's going to be really interesting to see like who gets in and who drops out. But like it'd be really exciting for me if like Uthermal or like Scarlet gets into the BlizzCon.
And let me look at you. So Uthermal's got a few hundred more points than Scarlet at the minute. So he's on 1630. She's on 1335. So where did she get the 5 from? I'm gonna work that out later. But so Uthermal has a lot better shot getting in because as long as he gets into the red. Oh, sorry, third and fourth gets 900 points. So if Scarlet comes third or fourth, as she gets to the round of 4. She is very likely in BlizzCon, so that's realistic. That is
very realistic.
Yeah. So and again, same with that actually throws a lot of what I then did out the window. So any player who gets second out of who isn't going to BlizzCon is likely going to BlizzCon.
This also hinges on the fact that Eliza goes out early as well, though, right? Like Eliza going out in groups or 16.
Yeah, that's true.
Like Eliza, is probably someone that I would expect to get to the quarterfinals. But I don't know. Like the thing is like there's not as many Zerg players. Like I hate to say, I hate to keep on coming back to this point, but like his ZVP and CVT are just not as powerful.
But then, but because again, Nurtio and Hero Marine. So here's the thing, right? This is like.
Oh yeah, okay. So there's a couple more spots going to Hero Marine and right, okay.
The weird situation is if Uthermal, Kellerzer, Scarlet, and True, if they all get to the top 4, not saying they will, if they all get to the top 4, and a laser goes out early, it would be, and a laser goes out early, they will knock a laser out of the top 8.
That is pretty funny. I hope that happens.
Again, it can happen.
We're calling it here now on the Depot Show.
And that's kind of what's got to happen as well, because if Haas and Neeb get any more points, they're already ahead of him, so they don't. So Cyril, Special, Neeb, and Haas already have points, and they're in this tournament. They can't kick a laser out. We need the people who are below him to do well. So again, unlikely. And again, we're not hating on a laser here. He's a great player, but we're just going with the narrative hype.
Yeah. We'll try
I'd like to
hype
see
up.
Nurture.
Yeah,
At this
yeah,
one.
that would
I
be
do really
cool.
like him.
I haven't
So
seen
yeah,
Nurtio play in a while, but he's been doing well this year. Cool.
even
So
without the brackets, we find good content.
yeah, definitely, definitely. That's what we do here on the Depot Show. We
That's what we
improvise
do.
because we record too early. Anyway, um, so I guess like next thing to talk about is the maps because they've kind of shifted some of the maps in, some of the maps out to kind of keep up with the latest ladder rotation.
Yeah.
So of course, like we've got so kind of running through the map pool, we've got Acid Plant, which we know, Blue Shift, which
Yep.
is new, Cerulean Fall, which is new, Dreamcatcher, which we know, Fracture, which is new, Lost and Found, which we know, and Parasite LE. So like I thought it'd be kind of interesting to kind of talk about how much play these maps will have in Montreal, and kind of like what we've been experienced with them on the ladder, I guess. So
No, sounds good.
I guess like we can start with Blue Shift. Um,
Well, this is I'm gonna be really basic here and be like, this is Catalyst on its side.
I've heard this so much. Like I've heard it so much. To be honest, like it does look a lot like Catalyst. If like this is like I'd say like this is one of the more standard maps. Like really standard.
Yeah.
Like I think we did a bit of analysis like a couple of episodes ago, and I was saying like you can get like 3-4 bases like really easily. Like I've been experiencing that. Like maybe it's because I've been playing Zerg a lot this season, but like getting 3-4 bases is like minimum on this map. Like it's really nice macro map.
It's really interesting as well because again, I feel like as much as I joke about it being the same as Catalyst, it genuinely is. Like the map that nobody seems to be complaining about. Everyone seems to be happy to play a game on there. Like, yeah. So just like how few people complained about Catalyst being a bad map, it was like one of the very litmus test map where the pros didn't complain about it too much, or anything like that. So I think it's kind of very much like that. And again, I enjoy playing games. And the only thing I don't like about it is as Zerg trying to creep through that middle. Oh man,
Oh,
that's
it's impossible.
nasty.
Yeah, it's like
Oh man,
impossible.
you gotta have an overlord
Yeah,
over there.
the brushes in the middle, like that's like a double brush. So oh man, it's like
It
near
is.
impossible. But I think like yeah, as you say, like I have not heard a bad word said about this map. It's like really fantastic. I think like yeah, as we kind of said like a couple of shows ago, like this middle bit is like it's not as much of a point of contention as it was in say Catalyst where you had that avenue. I think it's probably because they haven't got a base down there. Like in
Yeah.
Catalyst, you kind of took your fourth or fifth base down like in the center, and it kind of opened up this new avenue of attack. Whereas this map, like the center is like this really weird place to kind of attack down.
Yeah.
So like I haven't seen that being used as like an attack path, more of a counter attack path.
Man,
And
have you?
it's kind of an
Oh,
interesting one.
there have been some severe tank pushes on that low ground, on the low ground near the ramp. So where the natural goes down to that center ramp, you can place your tanks there, and then put the bio onto the high ground. And man, it's impossible to get a flank on those tanks unless
Yeah,
you
yeah.
pre-established they've taken down those rock. I've had some really nasty games as both Zerg and Protoss where tank positioning have been just a nightmare. But yeah, it's a good map, and taking down those rocks makes a lot of options available. It's really good. I like the map.
Yeah, I really enjoy the map. I really do think that will be like one of the staple maps for the next couple of seasons. To be honest, I think it will be the next Catalyst. To be honest.
Yeah, that's sort of what it is. Now I want to shift up gears and go to Parasite because this is the
Oh
game
wow!
that
Okay.
yeah, this is the map I've played the least of,
Yep.
and I'm also like, I
Okay.
like. This
I
is
will
one I
say
can't stand.
before we say anything about this map, this is the map that I said I would veto.
Veto.
And you know what? I was right.
You were right apparently. I can't even find the map now. Jesus. Nobody likes it apparently, and nobody wants to play on it.
It's awful.
This is the redshift of
awful.
the season. Is this it?
It's an awful map.
No.
The attack paths are off. Like the weird base in the middle just throws everyone off. I think like the couple of games as Terran that I have played this season, like attacking because okay, this is going to be kind of hard to explain, but like in the bottom base, like the one at the 6 o'clock position, if you go diagonally up, that is where, like on the low ground in the grey area, that's where Protoss players normally take their third base. Attacking into there as a Terran player against any splash damage is impossible. It is absolutely impossible because of like the narrow chokes that naturally occur on this map. Because if I was to take like a straight line third expansion as a Terran player, and I'm attacking straight down the map at the Protoss's third, as I say, it is now on the low ground grey area. If you go in like, you know, to the right of your main base, you've got like a corridor that is like really small, and if the Protoss player finds you there, you're just dead. And then you've got like this weird separator like right near the base, and if the Protoss player finds you there, which they will, you're dead. Like this and like if you take your third base to the left, then like literally the only attack path is from like if you hook into the left, because if you hook in from the right, that's where the natural expansion is. So you kind of have to hook into the left. And I mean, any other race can have the high ground on the black area. And yeah, oh my god, this map is not great.
Yeah, and I have not played enough to really know, because everyone seemed to have this vetoed. I've played like 3 games on this map.
I have played like maybe 7-8 games on this map. I really tried to, like, I'm one of those people who are like, yeah, I'll probably veto this, but I'll give it my best shot not to. Like when Redshift first came into the map pool, I tried real hard not to veto that map straight away. I was like really like wanting to play at least 3-4 games on it before, like, because I'm not one of those people who are like, oh no, this map is crap, veto sort of thing. But yeah, I hate this map.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Like,
sorry, I kind of took that away from you. You kind of
no, mate. I've played the map so little, I don't really know much about it. And because Neural Parasite is an ability in StarCraft 2, you can't find the map if you Google the map. So yeah, I couldn't even see the map. But I trusted everything you said was great.
Okay, I will say it is on the Montreal link, like they do.
Oh, of course it would be Derp on. Yeah. Let's see if we can find Fracture, man.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about Fracture.
Yeah, I want to talk more about the new maps than the others.
So Fracture,
I love it. Old maps. Aesthetically, I love Fracture.
Aesthetically, it is very pleasing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful map.
I will say, I'm a bit torn on this map, whether I like it, like if I really like it, or really disdain this map. Because I think like the natural like 4 bases is kind of easy. Got some weird attack paths with the destructible rocks. I think the destructible rocks are like really awkward on this map. The third base is like really difficult to hold for some reason. I haven't figured it out quite yet, but like it's really difficult to hold for some reason. And like I think like hidden expos are like rampant on this map.
Well, it's a really short map as well. Like
which is really weird. Like this is the thing. This is why, like in my head, like this kind of looks like a good map, but I think like they need to like stretch it out a bit.
Yeah. This is like not a rush map, because again, it's very choke. Well, no, that's not
it's
really
choke heavy, isn't it?
It's a really interesting map.
But like if this is kind of weird to say, but like your main and natural, like if you were going for like a 2 base all in, like your natural attack path of this map is to go into where the opponent would take their third if they were taking it on the high ground, which is like a really easily defensible position.
There are 2 angles, but yeah, I do agree with you. Like Yeah, it's an interesting map, and I say I haven't. Again, I feel like I haven't played enough on it to know. I feel like I should veto the old maps just so I play on the new maps more.
Yeah, yeah.
That might be an idea, just to get some
Yeah,
experience.
I'm really torn on this map. I really don't know if I like it or just absolutely hate this map. Um, as Zerg, I hate this map, especially against Terran because of all the choke points. Like
Yeah,
playing against Terran as a Zerg player on this map is near impossible.
yeah. I have not had that many games on it. Most of my games on this map has been ZVZ. It feels like.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I've had a lot of ZVZs on this map, weirdly,
so yeah, it's been interesting.
and most of them have ended with like someone doing a ling or roach all in.
Yeah,
So
we'll get into that soon. Don't
yeah,
worry.
yeah, yeah. To be honest, like I probably think that this will appear in WCF, but not as much as like the other maps. Like
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know if like people like the thing is like we come at this from like a diamond player like perspective, or maybe like a low masters. Like people who are like way higher MMR than us might see this map in like completely different ways than us. But like I've not heard many good things about like any of these maps except like Blue Shift and Blue Shift and
Cerulean?
Cerulean.
Yeah, there you go. Cerulean's a really interesting map. Again, I've had a lot of Zergs loving this map just because it's big.
It's big, it's wide open.
Oh
Like
yeah,
the counter attack paths are great.
yeah,
Like this is if I was ever going to describe a Zerg map to anyone, this is probably what I would point them at.
yeah. A lot of Zergs have been liking this. I remember we talked before about this, and this is where I want to see where you. Oh, I suppose you haven't played a lot actually. I was gonna say mech. Have you seen a lot of mech on this map, or do you still think this is a good one for mech, or how do you feel? I think we said this would be a good one for mech before, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking of this as a good mech map because you could get like 4 or 5 bases like really easy, but
Mhm.
like kind of playing a lot on it, I don't think I was correct in my assumption because like I think it's a bit open for a mech map. Like it's too like the counter attack paths are too open and like yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and again, I haven't played a lot as Protoss on this one, so it's I don't know how much it would affect me, but yeah, like as Zerg, it's been fine. I haven't hated it.
Weirdly, like the few games I have played as Terran this season, like I've not been on this map, I don't think. So I haven't had any TVZs on this map, so I
No,
haven't
no,
actually tried mech on
no,
this
that's
map
fair.
yet. So it'd be an
That's
interesting
fair.
one. I'd love to try it to see how it fares, but I don't think too well because I think like as I was saying, like the counter attack paths are just a bit too powerful on this map.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the maps. I think those are all the new ones anyway. So that's really what we were
Yeah,
interested
wow,
in.
that was really quick. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, we've still got quite a bit to go through as
Oh
well.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
so the loading screens. Oh
Oh
man,
man, you
Blizzard.
forgot like the
Oh, go on. Oh, sorry. Go on.
other news. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Other news.
Other
In
news.
other news, Blizzard can't do loading screens. What is wrong with why can't they ever do a loading screen? Like, remember when it was like you had the low poly map show up, and then sometimes
Yeah.
you didn't have a map show up, and then sort of thing, and then they kind of got it working where they had like the big avatars, like the spirit of the zealot or the marine or the hydra, like above your name, and now it's like a border kind of thing. It's weird.
Yeah,
I
they've
don't
got like
hate
these
it.
new like pictures above your name, I guess. And you can like obviously it's customizable because microtransactions are a thing. And yeah, like I think I was saying in last show actually that like I haven't seen them update the UI in quite a long time. And then
Mm.
of course like as soon as that episode comes out it's like, "Oh, we're changing the UI." Thank you, Depot Show.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and I kind of appreciate the change, but yeah, I'm really surprised that like I've been having quite a lot of problems with like loading into games and the maps are not displaying, and like
Yeah.
right, okay, I'm a software developer. I get that these things happen. Like, it's really, really easy to kind of get something wrong in the world of software development. But, like, loading a picture on a screen is not a hard thing to do, especially for a company like Blizzard, who probably have, like, billions of dollars behind them, and probably, like, a team of, like, 50 people working on this game at any one time. Like, I really would expect that they would have gotten this down.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing that they have, and I don't know if ongoing, like, I don't think other Blizzard games have this problem, but I think again they're all separate teams. Like the StarCraft team is separate to the Overwatch
Oh yeah,
team.
that is almost a certain. I think, like, if anything, the only team that will be shared among the Blizzard employees will probably be like the core engine team, because
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
pretty sure at this point Blizzard have like developed their own like engine for their games. Like, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know what anything runs off. Obviously, the StarCraft has its own engine, but I don't know anything
Yeah,
about
because I
Overwatch.
think like I was watching a video once of them trying to like hack it into the Warcraft engine,
Oh, okay.
but then it didn't really work because of all the dynamic stuff that they
Oh
wanted
no,
to add in. So they kind
I,
of created an engine from the ground up. Well, they say they made an engine from the ground up. I don't know how true that is, but
yeah. So yeah, that's been interesting. The only thing I would say as well, and I think you've had this problem, Joro, about the map loading is make sure you check what race you're against when you get into game. I've heard some people, including Joro, having this issue of where
yeah,
it's
this
you
is
see
really
something on the
really
loading
strange.
screen, but they are not actually that race, and
Yeah,
that
this
can
is really weird. Like, I'm sure I've been into like 4 or 5 games where like I've seen their race on the loading screen, and I've kind of like normally I look at the race, like clock it into the back of my mind, so I kind of know what my early game looks like. But then when I scout them, like they're a different race than what was in my short-term memory. So it's like
Mhm.
this. I don't know. Like, it's one of these things that I don't know if I'm just like entering the wrong race into my short-term memory. But I will say, like, this never happened before this update.
Yeah,
Like, before this update, my memory, my short-term memory, at like
never had this
what
problem.
race I was playing against was 100%. And
Yeah.
after this, it's knocked down to probably like 95 or something. So I feel as though it's like the update screwing with me somehow.
I mean the only way be doing it would be to record and then check back, which is a
Yeah,
pain.
yeah, which would
But
require me to kind of like record my session and then like like
yeah,
I'm fine with it. Like, I'm fine with
honestly,
like
yeah,
thinking that I have Alzheimer's.
I've been just checking the racing at the start of the game to make sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think like clicking that top right button has
Yeah,
really like
that's
it's become like a staple of my game, because like I'm just really unsure now of like whether what I'm being told is actually true. It's really weird.
paranoia.
I know, yeah.
Uh,
I've
and
never
you
I've never had this with StarCraft 2. Like we say, it's been like a really stable game for a long time, and like some changes have come in. This feels like, oh man, I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember like
go
a
on.
few years ago when they might have like altered the UI and they broke the pathing of like some units, like the probe.
Oh yes,
That was really
they,
weird because
they fixed that pretty quickly though.
yeah, yeah, they fixed it really quickly, and I really appreciate that they did that. But like, again, like being a software dev, like I know that these things can happen, but I feel as though like, and of course, like I'm talking from the outside, and I feel like sometimes when people like misinformed people, I guess, people talking from the outside of a company don't really know what's going
Mm.
on with the code, with the company. Like, things happen in companies sometimes that like people just aren't aware of. But like, I'd imagine like the UI code and the pathfinding code are like two completely separate modules. So I don't know
Yeah.
like how a change to one module kind of affected another module, unless like some dev went into the AI pathing module and attempted what we like to call in the software industry as like a refactor, where you change code but don't change the functionality of the code, and kind of messed it up a little bit, and then it accidentally got shipped. Because that genuinely happens sometimes. That happens to me all the time, where I'm like changing a piece of code, don't think it like affects anything, accidentally gets through QA and like onto a live server, and next thing you know, you're having an RCA, which is root cause analysis, about why what you did went wrong.
Man, software programming sounds hard.
Yeah, it is. Don't worry.
I love the memes about like
Spaghetti
people
code.
people leaving notes in the code being like, "This is what this code does. I don't know why it does it. Just leave it."
Yeah, that genuinely happens sometimes. I've got like where I'm working currently. Oh man, you get some like this isn't like this is a theme in the software industry of like you come across these pieces of code, and like obviously the developers have left years ago. Like the original authors of this code have left years ago, and there's like multiple people try to hack at this code and then like got something wrong, and have left comments in the code just saying, please leave this alone. You may think you know what you're doing, but you don't.
Man, it's crazy. I love that though.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, Blizzard, hire Joro.
Please do.
That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying.
Yeah. Genuinely though, I would really like at some point for us to kind of like do a podcast on like a deep dive into like maybe the software industry, and like me kind of like ramble on about like all the like some like things like demystified, I guess.
If I get a bunch, I'll get a bunch of questions together and we'll do that. Like
that sounds really fun.
Interview you, man. Yeah, because I'm really interested in it, but I know nothing about it. I'll get a bunch of memes from r/programming humor, and then be like, "Is this true?"
Yeah, I'd be like completely happy to answer that.
Oh, nice one, man. Nice one. Oh man, well, that's upcoming content. Right now, oh yeah, what else do we have? So in other news, Lag TV, after we announced that was a cool thing that we used to watch, they announced they're doing a new season.
A day after the show! A day!
Yeah. So they're updating now. I'm not that excited. It'll be cool to see some of the end, but I think part of why I loved it before was like it was very grassroots, and maybe I'm being cynical. Maybe I am being cynical, but now it just feels like they're going back to it because they want to be relevant, or they want to have some popularity, like cashing in on the kind of resurgence of StarCraft that's been happening. I don't know.
Yeah, this feels really weird to me because, of course, like I kind of liked them back in the day, like when StarCraft was kind of new, and like I was getting into the scene a lot, and like I really enjoyed watching like these really weird videos of like people trying new things. But I kind of like it's nice for the Jeff and Adam to kind of like do this for charity, because that's kind of what they're doing. But it does kind of feel, and we'll kind of have to wait and see if this actually happens. But they're trying to kind of like inject themselves back into the scene, because like, and like I blame us for it as well, because I mean, we kind of like are riding the hype train all the way to StarCraft Town, because like StarCraft is becoming quite a big thing again. Like we could have started this podcast at any point, but we decided to do it when StarCraft is getting a lot of popularity, and there's reasons behind that. People are more inclined to listen to us.
Yeah, listen to us ramble on.
That's great. Listen to us ramble on about nothing. But yeah, like it's kind of weird that these guys have been away for a long time and then like kind of come back just as the scene is like growing again. It'd be really interesting if StarCraft kind of like, I don't want this to happen, of course, like, but it'd be really interested if like viewership kind of petered off, and then to see what those guys would do, because I feel as though they're probably like they're I don't want to say this because it feels really mean, but they're the type of people that won't help a community when it's in a bit of a like a spot where it's not doing so well. Do you know what I mean?
I do, but I also, and in order to kind of defend them a little bit, or at least be devil's advocate. It's like you can understand from like a business point of
Oh yeah,
view
completely,
why
completely.
like continuing something like When Cheese Fails back in the day might not have been as good an idea as it is now, giving it a restart. But yeah, I'm kind of cynical about it. But what I'm most interested in, and I'd rather someone like Day 9 did it, to be fair. But I think Pig actually might be as well. Is like that content, which was like that encouraged lower league players to play and submit, and then you got because that wasn't you had no two replays the same. It wasn't like sort of thing. So just to see that there is some like community submission kind of stuff where you can put it in, and again, it has a chance to be casted and featured and sort of thing. I think that's really exciting for the player base. And again, if there is still a audience for it, I think it's great that When Cheese Fowls is coming back. And again, I think Pig is doing a similar thing called to Fun Day Monday, where he's setting challenges for lower league
Yeah,
players to
Pig
just
Monday.
is that yeah, Pig Monday. So again, I need to start watching those because I want to support that content, and that sounds like interesting content to me. I just haven't.
Yeah, yeah, like
So
I understand. Like, you know, I'm not. I like to think of myself as an average, intelligent human being. Like, I understand the decisions that have been made by these people and why they've decided to do what they do. But I guess, like, to defend what I was saying, like, I don't want to end up defending myself too hard, I guess. But, like, because, you know, I'm only trying to convince myself that I'm a good person, which I'm not. But
chill out, man, chill out. You're getting too worked up.
Too worked up, yeah. God, I can't even remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah, they disappeared before. They might do it again.
Yeah, like if they're the type of people that like when a community is doing really well, then they'll hop onto the hype train. But when it's not doing so well, they'll kind of not help that community out of the spot of bother. Like, that's what it looks like from the StarCraft scene, anyway. I've not followed them into other scenes, so I don't know if they've done that elsewhere, but, like...
Yeah, I don't even know if they were that active in other scenes.
Yeah.
Like, maybe.
Well, again, I think, like, both of them went into, like, variety streaming after StarCraft 2, so...
Which is fair.
Yeah, which is fair.
Oh, did anything ever come about... Again, sorry, switching news a little bit here, but... Did anything ever come about this Husky post?
No. Actually, yes.
Oh,
Husky deleted his YouTube, apparently.
Yeah, but then he posted the soon comment after that.
Yeah, so...
And I don't know if
I've not heard anything. I've not heard anything afterwards, so... I don't know. Maybe it's still soon.
Still soon, TM.
Still soon.
And that was like the Blizzard joke as well with the TM. So yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting one.
Yeah, maybe like we'll see something from him in the future, but like right now I haven't heard any news from him. So
yeah, I'd rather see Day 9 come back than Husky, but
yeah, I think like if Day 9 came back though, I'd probably be as critical of him as I am of like Lag TV. Like even though I think Day 9 has done a lot more for the community when it wasn't as popular.
Yeah,
like I'd still be pretty critical of Sean for like coming back at like when we're riding up the bell curve, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's yeah, that's it. I really support him in going out and doing other things because he became a variety streamer, but I feel like his audience outgrew him almost. Like I felt like he got popular through StarCraft, but then he got like this really big popularity that was there for him and not for StarCraft.
Yeah.
And I think that, and when that's your way of making money, again, it makes sense as a business.
Yeah, exactly. Like people have to make money somehow, right? And
the only other thing
if this is your business, like if things like streaming and like things like video content are how you make money, then you have to go where the money is. You can't expect like
yeah. The only other thing about that is wasn't he working on an RTS? In like he was
yeah. Like this has been going on for quite a while. Like because I think like he was talking about it when Heart of the Swarm came out, so it's been like quite a few years in the making. Now I do know like I think like the last I heard like it was a pretty small team that was working on it. So I would expect like the thing is, even for big companies to make like a game from scratch, like it takes like 8 years or something. So maybe it's just still like early
It'll be really
stages.
interesting if again with StarCraft kind of getting a surge of popularity again, if that was something to come out, and again Day Nine was behind it, there could be a lot of cross pollination there, and I think that'd be a really interesting kind of thing. I'm not saying it would necessarily compete with StarCraft, but I'd be interested in seeing it like
Yeah,
more
yeah. I think
interesting
I've been
behind the
curious
scenes.
for a while to see what Day Nine would come out with, to be honest, because like obviously he knows RTSs very
Mhm.
well, and like the thing is about knowing a lot about RTSs, it doesn't mean that you can like make a good RTS though.
Yeah,
Like I think
that's true.
like Blizzard were very lucky back in the day making Brood War.
Well, yeah, I mean, they had something behind them, but yeah, they got what they did, and
Yeah,
yeah,
it yeah, it's one of those things that's like once in a lifetime sort of thing, I think,
yeah.
of like they just created the perfect game at the perfect time. And you could say probably the same thing about Command and Conquer, because like after, like this might be controversial, but like after Generals, like they haven't really been able to catch that flame, like lightning in a bottle again.
Yeah, yeah. No, that is very true. Oh man,
That got
uh,
dark.
in,
Sorry.
interesting industry news there.
Yeah, yeah.
We sometimes scope out a little bit here too, you know. What else have we got on here? Oh yeah, we've got a few little casting bits, a little duo casting of other news now. Personally, I don't think this is a very big thing, but Todd did a little thing of it, did a little video about why he isn't in Montreal as a caster,
Yeah. I
and it
didn't
was
like. I don't think this will like take up too much of his time or too much of our time here,
yeah.
because literally his video is, I haven't been asked to cast, so I'm not casting.
Yeah, I'm surprised that people were so jumping on that he was like, just like he had decided not to. I had assumed that that was the case. That like
Yeah, it's
we
kind
have a
of
lot of
weird that
casters at the
like
minute.
after a while, like I remember back in the day when Day Nine stopped turning up to tournaments, I just thought that he made the decision not to turn up, but maybe like they
Oh,
just
maybe yeah, maybe they stopped asking. Yeah,
yeah, maybe they just stopped asking him to events. Like the thing
yeah,
is like we have quite a lot of we have like quite a few casters who are like I would consider really like ingrained in the community now. People like In Control,
yeah.
Rotterdam, Zombie Grub is like now just coming in, but she's becoming like very, very like a
Yeah, she's really
regular.
good. Yeah.
Um, and those people have been around for quite a long time in the casting community. Um, and people like all of like people like Todd, I've always felt like are on the fringes, and like now that there's kind of new blood coming in, people like
It's
Nathanius and Fear Dragon coming in, maybe like some of these
yeah.
people out on the fringes are being kind of like pushed out a bit. I don't know.
It's interesting you say that because I loved Calazur and Todd. They were like a casting duo back in like 2012 or maybe not 2012, 2013, maybe even 2014, like WCS challenges, like the first things, and they were great. And that's where I like really grew to know Todd.
Mm.
So yeah, it's interesting that, and obviously he still does Home Story Cup and sort of
Yeah,
things like
yeah,
that.
that was his
So
last casting event, wasn't it? And he was really good. I
yeah,
really enjoyed his content.
and I'm not gonna lie, I would rather him than Fear Dragon, which goes into our other point, is that Fear Dragon has been getting a lot of criticism over the
Yeah, I guess like the
performance card.
question, the question of like, is the criticism deserved? Should be answered straight away. Yes,
I was
yes.
gonna say, are you gonna answer that? Yeah.
Um, so I think like, okay, I'm going to like give my thoughts here because I kind of picked up this point with EXO, and I was
Mhm.
like almost ranting before the show, and then like now I feel like I can finally let loose.
Let it out, man. Let it out.
So, Fear Dragon, I feel, is like you. Okay, cast your mind back several years. Okay,
It's
StarCraft,
casting back.
StarCraft Two has just come out, right? And the casters are trying like their very best to understand this game that they don't know a lot about. So when things
Okay.
happen on screen that look very like decisive, they kind of call games way too early, and they like overhype things that aren't very hype worthy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. The false hype
yeah, the false
feel,
hype.
and you can feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, you could feel it back in the day. Like, I think Destiny did this great video back in the day of like, as like such a high player, he could probably tell like 4 or 5 minutes into the game who was actually going to win. But the casters like tried to like cling on to like anything that they
Yeah.
could about the other player's play that could like potentially bring them back into the game, and they were trying to make it like this even, like, oh no, this is a very even game, guys, but like in reality, like it was just over.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from the difference of information available in StarCraft 2 to Brood War,
Yes.
where in Brood War, and again till this day, and I don't like this about Brood War, I'm not a fan of Brood War at all, is that a lot of the time you tune in, you have no idea what's going on,
Yeah, yeah.
and then a player wins, and it's hype as fuck because you have no idea what's going on. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. Not to go
um,
too far into the Brood War thing, but like with Brood War, like if you select a building and like there's no production tab, like if you
mm,
click on a building, you don't really know what's building, you don't know what upgrades these players are actually getting. You kind of like know the structures, so like you kind of know what they're going into. But because you
mm.
don't have that complete information in Brood War, it's kind of more hype, and you really don't know what's going to happen in the
Yeah,
next 5 minutes because, like, these things are a mystery to you as well as the other player. But in StarCraft 2, we have, like, for the casters at least, we have a perfect information game.
yeah,
And, like, with Fear Dragon, I feel that he is at a stage in his career where he feels that it's still necessary to do this, and I don't know whether this is like he doesn't have enough information about the people playing the game, what is happening, or whether he's trying to like hype up the audience in an
mm.
unhyped situation. I think that's where
Yeah,
my mind is at. And we
I
have
think,
like this sorry to cut you off, but like
yeah,
we
go for
we have like this great clip, and it's something that
it. Yeah.
Rifkin was kind of like going on about. There was this game, Massive
Yeah,
versus.
play it. You should play it if you can. If you feel confident in your sound balancing, that you should just play it on your thing. I'll wait. I've already seen the clip, so
Okay.
I reckon. Okay. Yeah, yeah. You know what, man? You should probably just show the clip. I'll be quiet and just show the clip, and then we'll talk about it.
All right, showing the clip.
He literally loses the probe on the other side of the map.
And 4 workers have gone down so far.
Yeah, because if you see the shield batteries, there's a party that says this guy thinks I'm cheesing him, and as we can see with Masa, he's not. So it really is hard for Masa to be like, I think
don't
there's
think
a
so.
Stargate.
I think he thinks that the factory is proxy because he lets the shield battery finish.
He lets a shield battery finish, not the two.
But would you, if you thought that your
I'm
opponent
offering you a glimpse into the mind of a good Protoss player, and
Okay.
you're like, no, bad Protoss player mind. He doesn't know, man. And look at Masa's base. Look at everything he's making. Tell me that that guy knows an Oracle's about to show up.
Oh no, I don't think he has any idea about
Well, that's
that.
what I was saying. The whole point behind the shield batteries is to make him think that he thinks he's getting cheesed.
Okay. Here it is.
G-Unit! And look at that, guys. Not only did I do a crappy job observing, I fought back Fear Dragon's wants to change what I was sharing with you guys, and I correctly called the game. He literally...
All right, so the clip is now over.
Damn, man, damn.
Yeah, yeah. So I kind of hope that like, oh yeah, because like this clip, okay, it's like a really good example of Fear Dragon trying to like, I don't know, maybe trying to overanalyze the game, and like Jeff, like in control, is doing his utmost best to try and tell Fear Dragon that his opinion is wrong. Like what he is saying is completely incorrect, and Fear Dragon just like continues with this. Oh no, he still has a like chance, and like you can see like the Oracle just flies into the base and like he just GG's immediately. Like I don't know, man.
So where I come from with this, it's a slightly different angle than you. I think it's more naivety from Fear Dragon than anyone else, than anything else. So again, what we got, I don't know when exactly it happened, but there became a point in StarCraft casting with StarCraft 2, and again, this goes back to the Brood War kind of comment, where there was a very, and I think this is a very mature thing for the game to have done. The casters ended up very broadly acknowledging that hype casting was a thing, and that it shouldn't be used all the time. And I think that's a really important detail because you have Jeff in control, for example, who knows when to turn it on and not. So sometimes it is good to have, but then it's also he is one of many casters who will also then go, no, this game is over, he's dead, even though the game isn't fully played out yet. And that's an important quality to have because back in the day, no casters did that. So it's much better balance nowadays. But I just think Fear Dragon is at a naive point where he was almost viewing it through the lens of one of the players. He was almost viewing it through the lens of Massa, who didn't know what was going on. But if he did know what was going on and it was something else, then it would be right. It was like this kind of weird kind of thing, as opposed to where you say he was like overanalyzing it. I actually think he was like underanalyzing it. He just wasn't looking at the information that was actually there. It was almost like he didn't know the Stargate was there, like he was Massa, and he didn't know this was there. So, but again, whether that's because he's trying to hypecast and keep it interesting, or whether it's just because he was genuinely like confused at the situation, I don't know. Because these casters, they do long days, and
yeah,
I don't
completely
know
understand. Like sometimes it the working day can kind of wear on you and wear on your mind, and like you say these things that are kind of nonsensical. But I think like my criticism of Fear Dragon comes in when like this is just what he does.
Yeah. Because again, back in the day, and you don't see this as much anymore, but you used to have, and Artosis and Tasteless are a good example of this. Is the one's the play-by-play, and the other is the analysis. Like Tasteless is the play-by-play, and Artosis was like, okay, well, this is what he's trying to do behind this. And then, so as a fight would happen, Tasteless would go, oh my god, there's certain things, and both of them are very good at both, obviously, because they are great casters. But back in the day, there was a big focus on that, and I think that if Fear Dragon was placed in that situation, he wouldn't fit in either. He's not a big play-by-play who is good at talking when there's action going on and explaining it clearly and quickly, and he's also not good at analyzing a situation, being able to say, so this is what the build is going to be, and this is because of this, and because of this. Yeah. So I think he doesn't really fit in either bracket very well, but because like Jeff or In Control, for example, is such a good caster all round now, and we have a lot of good all round casters, is that he's kind of almost being carried by the fact that the others are consistently good at what they need to do.
Like calling the game. The thing is like I think every caster is kind of guilty of this, especially in some area, like some time in their career of doing what Fear Dragon is doing, and casters have incorrectly called games in the past. I'm not criticizing Fear Dragon for that. Like I think it's easy to like miss a call in a game. I don't know.
And the casting curse is a real thing. That's why a lot of the times.
Yeah, definitely. That's why Artosis meme was such like a big thing for a long time.
Yeah. And In Control, I think, is again one of the funniest ones for these, where it's like there's like 20 lings surrounded a nexus at a third that's got nothing there, and he's like, okay, that third is definitely dead, and then the Zerg pulls all the lings away to like run into the natural.
Yeah.
Like goddamn.
It's like things like that are just funny, I guess, because like what In Control is saying should be true, but then it ends up like weirdly not true.
But we have, and again, this is why I think it's a good mature sort of thing for the cast and for the audience as well, is that we have very honest casters for the most part.
Yeah. And they can admit their mistakes, like,
And I think that's,
I'll make
again,
a joke about them.
And again, feel like a lot of pressure is put onto the observers, but they do a really good job now.
Hello and welcome back to the Depot Show. We've had a bit of technical difficulty here. Discord just completely shut down. Couldn't hear my good friend Exo, so we have changed to an insuperior piece of software known as Skype. You may know it. It is awful.
It once was good, but now is not.
Yeah, but it will do for this voice call, I guess, because at least they haven't broken that completely yet.
Yeah.
So, to kind of get back on track, watching the video back a bit, the last thing that you were saying, Exo, is that observers are kind of having quite a lot of pressure put onto them these days.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say was how observing is a very important part of the viewer experience, and now that casters generally don't have to do that, that is something that's very handy that we have dedicated observers, and that's something which I was saying about Fear Dragon as a redeeming point, is that he seems to be happy to observe and cast, but obviously
when we have of one of them.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. So it's all good and all interesting sort of stuff. But I think that's the majority of what I had to say sort of regarding that news point. And now I can't remember where I put the news output to go. Oh yeah, here we go. So yeah, that was pretty much all we had on the other news section. And I think we were getting ready to move on to This Week in Ladder.
Yeah, I guess before we move on to that.
Oh yeah.
Please, Blizzard, replace Fear Dragon. And at least until he knows how to cast as well as some of the other casters. Moving on.
True that.
Shots fired at Fear Dragon. I'm really sorry if Fear Dragon watches this show. I really appreciate you, man. You do a very good job. I'm sorry that I came down on you so hard, but my God, that was so bad. That challenger was really bad. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Anyway. Let's go on to This Week in Ladder.
Yeah.
Right, so before we start, we should, we've mentioned this 100 times in the show, but I guess it's worth mentioning now as well. So last show, me and Exo actually committed to playing Zerg for a season.
We did.
Actually, Exo said as soon as he's got his Protoss MMR back up to a reasonable Masters level, he would then switch to Zerg, whereas I said I would switch straight away, which I did. So, Exo.
Hey, man, I did it. I got my Protoss MMR back up to actual Masters 3, which was like 4,520 at the time, but now it's like higher, I think.
Yeah, I think it's like 4,800 now, or 4,600.
I think it's 6, 4, 6, but I haven't checked. So that I'm gonna have to do another sort of clasp for Masters with Protoss at some point. But it was fun stuff. So I got it up there. So I earned my badge last season. Thank you very much. Even though I haven't got it yet this season. I also made the commitment to switch to Zerg, which has been very fun because life as a Zerg player has been interesting. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. One thing that I will say immediately is, I think I mentioned this earlier in the show, is because the account I was playing on, so I actually switched to the American ladder and not the European ladder, and I've got a Diamond Terran account on there as well, because I kind of play on that account when EU ladder is kind of slim pickings, Terran versus Terran side, let's say. So I kind of got placed into I think it was Diamond 2 or Diamond 3 as Zerg straight away, even though I lost 3 of my placement matches versus Platinum players. That's a big whatever. Blizzard, please fix that when you have time. But yeah, I my skill level, I've played this game for 7 years. I think I've got a pretty good grasp of where my skill level is at any one time. So, like, I thought my skill level was probably high gold, low platinum. So I kind of lost as many games as I could, as quickly as I could, which generally meant leaving games as soon as I entered them, and kind of like getting myself to what I thought my skill level was, which was low platinum. And that worked out really well for me, actually, because like, I had so much fun kind of learning Zerg from that side of things, because I think if I stayed in Diamond, I would have had a really hard time with it, because, like, I think I said last time, is like, Zerg is a race that I've never really approached very seriously. I've kind of played off races like 1 or 2 games, so kind of picking up Zerg like anew, like, I found it really difficult, and I lost like, I think I lost like 10, 20 games just because, like, I made 0 units, and this was like in Gold League.
The best way to lose, man.
Yeah,
as
no,
a Zerg.
yeah. Like, I made 0 units. Some Terran like dropped into my base, and, like, you know, I just died completely. And but yeah, I'm really glad that I kind of went through that, and I recently got placed into Diamond 3. So yeah, I think I've definitely improved as a Zerg player. I've learned a hell of a lot about the Zerg race, and I am really enjoying my time as a Zerg player.
Yeah, it's good to hear, man. That's like, and again, I'll echo that sentiment. I didn't drop games, but that's because I off race as Zerg. My off race is a bit stronger than Joro's. Like, I've done it semi-seriously in the past, not quite like a full season dedicated, but I already had like hotkey tricks for Zerg set up, and like a general kind of knowledge of how to play them. So I started at Platinum 1 MMR, but I soon got to Diamond, and yeah, it was pretty easy for the first part. A lot of the games were either convincing wins or convincing losses, but I'm now at 3.9k MMR, and that is they're definitely feeling like tougher now. Like, I have to really work for it sometimes. So I'm definitely getting to the point where I'm having to think more about it and actually start using Zerg properly.
Yeah, I remember actually when I first started playing Zerg, it just felt like I was losing all over the place, like losing in the early game, losing in the mid game, losing in the late game. But now, like, I find myself, if I get to the mid game, like, I generally win, or like, at least that's what I thought in Platinum. But now, like, when I'm getting into the Diamond Leagues again, like, more and more people are like aware of like how to play the later game. So now I have to be a bit more wary, because, like, people in Platinum League, like, after 2 bases or 3 bases, just don't generally move from there. So, like,
Yeah.
they'll stay on 3 bases until like 30 minutes or something. So, like, generally, if you just get some units that are like higher tech and like attack, like, or just like crash into their army like 5 times, like, they'll generally just have nothing else to offer, because, like, they've just run out of resources. But now, like, as I say, I'm pushing into Diamond League. Like, I feel like more Terran players are really understanding, like, how to, like, sort of play that later game. But what I'm finding interesting, I don't know about you, Exo, is, like, kind of the tech switch options of Zerg. And I'm finding that's really interesting, because, like, you can kind of transition from Ling Bling Muter, which, like, requires quite a lot of ground units to deal with it, into like something like Broodlord Infestor or Ultra Broodlord, which requires quite a lot of air. And what this does is forces the Terran to kind of like switch from ground to air, which like runs his minerals dry much more quickly than the Zerg players.
So what I find is, again, just different ways of looking at it, I suppose, but the same kind of concept, is that with Zerg, it feels like there's a lot more of a natural flow to things.
Oh, definitely.
And it just feels like, again, I go Hydra Lingbane. I generally skip the muters. So Hydra Lingbane versus mostly Terran, but sometimes it's Protoss as well. And you just have this really nice kind of like where you start off in the first few minutes only making lings, and then your scout's going to be a 2-1-1, and you go, okay, banelings and lings, and then you start adding in the Hydras. And then you start making pushes. You've got a lot of bases, and then you start going to hive tech. I add in a few infestors. I love infestors. I use them like storms, and they're really good. I don't know why you don't use them as much, but I don't know. So yeah, and then by the time the armies are getting really beefy and like really heavy, I'm into ultras, and that like just flow feels really nice. Like it, you never sit. It feels like with Zerg, you never. If you're safe enough to build no units, then your opponent is just really bad.
Yeah.
And again, it's that balance of just being able to eke out 4 or 5 drones here and keep doing that and doing it. And I really enjoy it as well. And spreading creep is always like a therapeutic thing for me. So I love still doing that. Injecting, like I said, I've got my own little hotkey trick for that, which I enjoy.
Yeah, me and Exo actually, after playing like a couple of games this season, actually sat down together and like changed a ton of our hotkeys for Zerg, because obviously like Exo is more used to kind of playing Protoss, I'm kind of more used to playing Terran, and like all of the hotkeys are kind of all over the place for Zerg. Like Lair is on L, Mnemonic Sax or wherever the hell that's called is on P. Like the upgrades are just like all over the keyboard depending on like what structure you've got really selected at the time. So basically what we've done is like changed all of our hotkeys, like all of my structures now, all of the attack upgrades are E, all of the defense type upgrades are A, like Lair is changed to X, although I think I'll change that. Like Ultralisk Cavern is now R, like, oh man, we have changed everything, because like
we changed a lot,
yeah, because like for me, like it was really difficult like moving my hand physically, because like I generally as Terran, like it doesn't really move from the left hand side of my keyboard. So like reaching over to the right side of the keyboard felt really weird to me, so I was just like, okay, I'm going to play how I want to play, so I'm just going to change all of these hotkeys.
Yeah, man. And again, that's the beauty of, well, I say the beauty of StarCraft. That's really every RTS should be able to do this.
Oh,
Halo Wars 2. Or
what was
something. And so there are some, I don't know if Halo Wars 2 actually does it or doesn't it. I think it's really awkward to change them, but I don't know. But yeah, so really good stuff. And I love trying to figure out ways that are, like you say, ergonomically good. Like I have my inject, I spam F1, F2, F3 after I select all my queens, which are on a separate hotkey, which are on 1 for me. So I press 1, that selects all my queens, and then I spam F1, F2, F3. F1 is backspace, where it centers to a base, so it shows you a base. F2 is an alternative hotkey for V, and F3 is an alternative hotkey for confirm unit selection. So I hover my mouse in the middle of the screen, select 1, and then spam F1, F2, F3 per the amount of bases I have, and they're injected. And I've tried a lot of techniques and a lot of like spam techniques, a lot of like base hotkey setups, but I have found that my kind of lazy spam technique is most comfortable for me.
Yeah, and that's what this game is about, is just being comfortable, like doing what you do, I guess.
Yeah.
If you find something hard to reach on the keyboard, just change it. That's like one of the great things I love about StarCraft 2 is that I've always been able to just play how I want to play.
Yeah, and again to go into it, what was I going to say to that? I have no idea where I was going to segue into that. Yeah, that's it. The races in StarCraft are flexible enough that you can so easily have your own style. Like I think if I wanted to go like Ling Infestor, even like Ling Infestor Mutal or something, I think I could make that work versus a lot of reasonable opponents and have a fun time with that, have a good win rate, but also not feel like it's complete bullshit coin flip kind of stuff. And I think StarCraft is at a beautiful state of balance where all the races can do that to a certain degree. I like doing speed banshees things as Terran. And again, Protoss, I have all sort of wacky shit I do.
Yeah, I think like what people miss is like outside of like genuinely high masters, like genuinely anything works if you're just good enough at execution.
Yeah.
And that's again like that's one of the things I absolutely love about StarCraft 2 is like you can just come up with your own way that you enjoy playing the game and kind of like get so good at playing the way that you play that you just defeat all of your opponents. And even like if it does feel a bit BS to your opponents, you know that you've put in like ungodly amount of hours into like that one build and you know it way better than they do.
And honestly though, onto that point about it feeling BS for your opponent, I thought that was a kind of a problem with StarCraft, but now I realize it's just a problem for Protoss. Oh man. Oh man! So I am a Protoss player by heart, and I'm gonna change. I'm gonna take control of this conversation right here. I'm a Protoss player by heart, and there's been a lot of hate for Protoss over the years, and I've never quite understood it, or I have understood it at a certain point, and I've never been a big A-move player. I like to strategize. I like to think about these sort of things, and I think Protoss is a fragile race at times, even though. God, it can be so strong. I love Protoss. Yeah. I genuinely think it is the best race in StarCraft as well. This is a dangerous thing to say, but I genuinely do think it's the best race overall. Maybe like higher skill ceiling. If we got like AI with unlimited APM, you could make the others better, but I genuinely think Protoss is the best. That being said, fucking carriers are so bullshit, man. Fuck this shit. I want them gone. I don't use carriers very much as Protoss. I actually thought they were overhyped. I thought most Zergs were just whining when they were like having troubles against carriers. Nah, mate. That shit is so bullshit. It's unbelievable how they just like once you get like 15 carriers, which is a lot, don't get me wrong, but once you get like a critical mass of carriers, it's not like mech, right? With mech, you have like, if he has like 10 siege tanks and 10 liberators and a bunch of hellbats and maybe a few banshees in there, well, you got to think about how you pick apart that army. You know, your blinding cloud, your the Yanks, I can't remember what the Yanks are called in the Vipers now. You got to do all this sort of stuff, and then you run some lings in, or you catch him on siege, and that's great. You don't catch 15 carriers on siege. They just kill everything.
Like, they just come in, fuck your shit up, and then just leave.
I had earlier today, right? I was playing ladder, and again, I went online and complained about this, and I've tried a bunch of stuff out, so I'm a bit better against it now. This guy, he did some weird like forge fast expand, but not like aggressive. Maybe it's because I scouted very defensively, so he didn't try and cannon me or anything. This motherfucker, when on 2 bases, when one zealot in the wall, then into a Stargate with a Phoenix, into double Stargate carrier production on 2 base.
Oh my god.
And he took a hidden third, which I found very quickly and killed. And this motherfucker had the gall to make a zealot hold position in the wall. I don't even know why he held position in the wall. He might have fucking well hard walled off. But he did that and then was like double carrier production, baby. And it took me like 18 minutes to kill him because I had to actually get upgrades for Hydras. I threw a Hydra army at it, killed like half of his carriers. And then I was like, right, Remax, Corruptors, which if you get the armor upgrade for Corruptors, that's really important. But if you get armor upgrades and then just make a shit ton of them, I just ran and killed all of his carriers.
Corruptors have so much health. They have like 200 health, just like base unit. Oh my god,
but carriers do a lot of damage, so the armor upgrades really help. But yeah, so I then remaxed on Corruptors, went in, moved against his army, fought under cannons and shield batteries. I didn't care, I had enough to one-shot everything. And then remaxed on Hydras and killed him. It's fucking bullshit though. He's a 2-base Protoss. So, like this should not happen. And It's not fun. It's not fun to play as. It's not fun to play against. Mech is technical. It's fun. It's like it's interesting. There's like dynamics there. The carry is bullshit. I don't like it.
I've not faced many carrier builds, to
Oh,
be very
man.
honest with you. I played like one game where this guy went carriers. Most of my ZVPs, right, I've ended one of two ways, right? And the first one, every Zerg player will like feel my pain here. So hopefully like people can post into the show and be like, Joro, I know what you're on about and it feels awful. The first way is Protoss players come into my base and put a pylon down and it's like, oh, I built a forge. Let me build 5 cannons, then build a shield battery with 2 robos, build double immortal in your natural base, and then let me defeat every spine crawler that you've ever put up because immortals are bullshit.
Oh, amazing.
So that's one way. The other way is literally anything else.
Literally anything. Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. I am really bad at this matchup for some reason. Like, as I said, I think if it goes past 12 minutes, I win. Just because I have more experience playing the game after that amount of time.
Oh, yeah.
And Protoss, like, at my level as Zerg, like, Protoss players don't get a, like, technical enough army to defeat my Roach, Hydra, Ravager army, sometimes Corruptors because Colossus are a thing. But, like, literally, any time before the 10-minute mark, I don't understand it, but, like, Protoss can literally do anything. Anything. Like, Zealot all in, Adept all in, Immortal all in, Observer all in, and it just works. It works.
It does. I had this game, and I think Jar may have even showed it to you, but and this highlighted one of my problems, which I have dealt with and I've started getting better with. And it was one of those games where I scouted, I got overlord speed every game, I scouted, saw it as like 6-7 gateways in his main with a Twilight Council, no Stargate opening by the way, so there's a really quick charge, and I'm like, right, I need to defend this all and need to start making Roach Hydra and Defender, and I build 12 drones.
Yes,
and
that
I
was
lose.
beautiful because Exo was in that replay and it was like, okay, I've seen 7 gateways, watch me switch into units, 12 drones. And I was like,
Yeah.
shit.
So yeah, I and so sometimes it really is just like respecting thing, but I feel like with Terran it's like much more predictable. It's like, okay, if I make like 14 lings and make like 4 of them banelings, I can hold most pushes if I've got like 4 queens around, you know, like
Yeah.
you like. But with Protoss, it's like, well, you know, like 15 banelings and like 40 lings might be overkill, or it might not be enough. Like it's really like hard to gauge.
Yeah, it's really hard to gauge against Protoss, like what type of army that you need. I will say, like, one thing that I've discovered whilst playing Zerg versus Terran, I understand the hate towards Terran Bio now. Like, Terran Bio, like, if you don't defeat the push, like, straight away, like,
you
that,
just slow die.
yeah, you just slow die, because, like, trying to get your Zerglings into a group where they can defeat what is left of the Bio army while he is, like, parade pushing down the map. Like, it's impossible. It's just impossible. And losing that way feels really bad, because you're just, in your head, you're like, if I had 2 more Banelings, this wouldn't have been a thing.
Yeah.
Like, but it's this really weird thing of, like, and I'm really, like, this is broad stroke, I am a, like, platinum level Zerg player. Against Terran players, like, they literally do 1 push at, like, the 5 or 6 minute mark, and I have, like, 50 Banelings, crash them into him, and then the Terran player just, like, sits back in his base. And then I just win because I have more bases, more resources, and I just choke out the Terran player.
Mm.
And, like, I've not had anyone call me overpowered yet, though.
Yeah, that's a good one. Again, neither have I. I haven't had people complain at me yet. Again, unlike Protoss, where I get complained at a lot. But yeah, and again, this is something I think Terrans have the same problem versus Protoss. I think, which is a case of maybe having one timing, like a Widowmine drop versus Protoss, and then they don't have anything, and they just sit back and they're like, well, let's hope we get a bigger army. And I don't know if this is because bio armies are very fragile or that it's very micro intensive, but yeah, both Zerg and Protoss players feel way more ready to be like, all right, I'm going to attack here, and then a bit later I'm going to attack, just a straight up like little push, and yeah, so
Yeah, one
I
thing
don't know.
like I have learned from like this time as Zerg, so I've played like maybe 12 games as Terran this season, and I've won like 10 of them, feeling really good as Terran right now. But yeah, like what I've started to do is just push more, like
Yeah.
literally like so at like 4 or 5 minutes when I'm taking my third, push. When my 1-1 is done, push. Like anytime I think I have an advantage over the Protoss player, push. Like, and it's just like even when I don't have even when I don't think I have an advantage, do a drop, just push. Like
Yeah.
like that's the only way like I'll ever learn how to get better is just to do these weird off-time pushes to see if they work or not.
And it's so true. Like being like the slowing the Zerg down is such a true thing.
Oh my
I've had
god. Like I've had
painful
like
games.
5 drones die and then just lost the game because of it. Like
I know. Well, I've had painful games where again it's just constant slow harassment. Again,
yeah.
often by Protoss, just running zealots in, which is something I do already as Protoss, and I didn't realize how damn good it was. And that is just like, and then it's this thing where you have like 54 workers at like 12 minutes over 3 bases, and it's just like you can't build an army, and you didn't start building up, and it's not like Protoss where you slowly
yeah.
build a technical army.
Yeah, it's like with Zerg, what I really enjoy about it is that if you want an army, boom, it's just there. Like, because,
Yeah.
like, if you are good with injects and you have the right saturation on, like, 3-4 bases, like, it's really easy to kind of build an army because, like, you have, like, so much lava. But one thing I like, when you said workers then, like, one of the things that was tripping me up, like, constantly when I was like first picking up Zerg is just saturating my bases. Like this was a really difficult thing for me because as Terran, like normally you get the 16-6 on gas and then, like,
Yeah.
you have like 1 or 2 builders working, but like you don't have to sacrifice workers to like build buildings. Like those SCVs kind of come back to you after a while, but with Zerg you actually have to like knowingly like build 2 structures but then queue up 2 drones to go to your mineral line. Otherwise like everything you build like costs 1 drone. So it was like this really weird thing of like I'd end the game on like 5 in one base, 6 in another base because like I was building so many things and just not replacing my drones.
It's actually funny that you had that problem where with Protoss, where we basically don't even lose the probe for the time. It's literally the time it goes to build the building, and one probe can build like 10 buildings.
I know.
And then come back. And I didn't have this problem, but then again, maybe just because I've off-raced more as
Yeah, maybe.
as
And you were in the mindset of it. Yeah. So like one thing I was talking to Exo about is like literally anytime I build a building now, like if my base is undersaturated, I queue up a drone, like just click it at the base.
Oh yeah.
And like if I build an extractor, then I just go like 4, which is my hatcheries, S, which is select lava, and D to just like queue up 3 drones to go straight into that.
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. Yeah.
And it's like it saves me so much APM. I swear. Like.
No, it's good stuff, and that's what I do as well. When I build extractors, I build 3 drones for it. And sometimes, if it's 16 workers, I build 2 extractors, I then build 2 drones to go onto the mineral patch, and then 3 drones per thingy. And that is just sometimes how it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's been good fun. And again, I think the only thing is like PvZ, where ZVP, I should say, where Protoss again feels harder to play against. But again, like when games where I've been in control or where I've done like a good Hydra push timing, where if they don't push out or do any damage and I do this nice Hydra push out, then it feels like my games where I'm Protoss, and I'm just like, well, the Zerg has 50 Hydras and there's like 4 or 5 bases and a huge bank, and I'm like, well, Storms, man, they're pretty good.
Storms are like the one. Oh man, what I love about Zerg, like going like Roach, Ravager, Hydra versus Protoss feels so much better than going Bio versus Protoss.
Yeah.
Because like if you storm a bunch of Bio, like half of that Bio will just disappear if you don't like split properly. But you storm some Roaches and they're just there. They're still there.
Tank
Like
units, man.
they're so tanky. Like, oh my god, it's felt so good to like just see storm, and it's just like, yep, my units are not being affected by these storms. Of course, they're getting affected a little bit, but not as much as like Terran Bio. And it's been like so like, as Terran, like the one unit I fear most of all is the Archon. Because like the Archon, its shields are so hard to break as Terran. Like you need so many bio units, and like you don't want them clumped up because Archons do splash damage, and it's like really weird splash damage as well. Not like Storms or Colossus or Banelings. So like you kind of have to engage an Archon in the right way. Fuck, you get like 6 Roaches. That Archon is gone. Like.
Yeah, that's why War Prism micro is so important. Versus Zerg with Archons.
Now I know why all the pro players do War Prism harassment, because like one Protoss did it against me once and I just lost because of it, because it was just so damn strong. Like it got like loads of drones. Like, oh man, yeah, it was great. It was really great.
Yeah, it's amazing what can be done, and it's so weird. Like seeing we knew these things anyway, but it's experiencing them for ourselves. It's like it's been really good for us, I think, or really good for me, definitely.
It's been great for me.
And when I go back to playing Protoss, I want a 100% win rate versus Zerg, because
if you don't, I'm going to be really disappointed in you.
I know,
because literally anything wins.
Literally anything. And I have played a few Zerg games. Oh, which actually leads me on to my other thing in This Week in Ladder kind of thing. Even though it's not really ladder, but hey, I have a little story to tell. I won't let it go on for too long. And Joro, I briefly mentioned this to you before we started recording, but I've been kind of picked up by a clan in a very unusual kind of way. So I'm part of a Discord server for StarCraft 2 practice, and I've met a few guys on there. They're really chill and they're really cool. And one Terran wanted to practice against me he wanted to practice some all-ins for a clan war he had coming up. So we practice, and he's pretty good at all-ins, actually. He's Masters 4.5, 4,500 MMR, Masters 3, or maybe that's not Masters now, but he has the Masters border. And he's really good at all-ins, terrible at macro games. I absolutely crush him in macro games, which is fun. But, you know, he's planning an all-in for this thing he built. And we go on Discord and voice chat, and he hears that I'm English. And he's like, we're looking for Protoss players at the minute. And we're mostly an English sort of like clan and that. And do you want, someone for this amateur division clan war? So we get in, and he's like, we need another player to do this clan war on not that night, but the night following, kind of a thing. So I'm like, yeah, all right, sure, I'll be your like extra player. So they're like, all right, we'll sign you up for the clan basically, and then you can just play in tomorrow's thing. And again, I tell them that like they're nice enough guys. I tell them like, yeah, I'm like laddering as Zerg at the minute as Diamond 2. Haven't played Protoss in weeks aside from these like off thingy games. So we do a few practice games, and then it turns out I get a Zerg in this thing, and I have a clip of this, which through to the technical issues we've had already, I don't want to like try and play, but there's a clip of it. So in my game, I'm kind of winning, like putting a lot of pressure on the Zerg, and it's full base versus full base. I get a full base out, but then he's got this big lurker push that he comes out with, right? And the cast, again, I've highlighted the cast, the Twitch cast that was going on of this, because it's one of these great moments. He pushes across and he gets in, this is on Lost and Found, and he gets in between the natural and the third on the high ground, and he burrows like 15 lurkers there, right? And he's got a bunch of hydras, and my army is like on the opposite side of like the third and natural. And it's nasty, and I've walled off with buildings for the most part as well, so it's like everything is getting attacked, and there's no like wide open space to approach it. And so what I do was, and I've done this so many times versus other players, regular practice partners, is that I warped in just a big round of DTs. I had one observer, one observer in the whole game. I float that over, and because he's kind of attacking the natural, but like the third is being sieged, I have these five DTs go ham on all the lurkers. And then I run in with my whole army afterwards. I lose the observer, or it doesn't get lost, but it's not hotkeyed. I run in, I just storm everything, and then I get the observer back or build another observer, whatever, and then manage to clear the push up, and I'm just like 50 supply ahead in the most bullshit way. Like that was the bit where Zerg should win. Oh man, Protoss did something, and Immortals are good, as you said. So yeah, that was like my fun little clan war experiences, and now I'm like part of the clan because that was like the game that won the clan war. So I'm like I'm in now, and they're nice guys. So I'm gonna see how it goes.
Betraying the SC climbers.
Oh man, I am, man. The clan's only been dead for 3 years. Like yeah.
That is true. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, which is probably everyone,
Yeah.
like me, the way that me and EXO actually met was to basically be a part of the same clan like a couple of years back called the SC Climbers. Now, unfortunately, due to like circumstances, mostly because of like the guy who was running the clan kind of left StarCraft. There hasn't been like a StarCraft like
he came down with this terrible disease called children, and it really affected things.
yeah. So he couldn't like spearhead that anymore. So like they kind of didn't they like change into the OTG for a while?
Oh, they did. Yeah. They were like Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike stuff for a while. Trying to like bring it back as like more of like just a friendly catch-up sort of place now. So
yeah,
it's good to see old faces again. I think more than anything, like sort of catch up with everyone after 3 years, because like you know back then like Discord didn't exist, and like I think what were we?
TeamSpeak.
TeamSpeak, yeah.
That was the one.
And yeah, we kind of like bounced around a few technologies before like finally landing on Discord, because obviously Discord is like a new thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
that was a fun thing, and yeah, that's been mostly my my week on ladder. So I'm going to continue playing Zerg. I'm not betraying that promise. I'm going to continue playing Zerg.
I'm definitely going to continue playing Zerg for the rest, like for as long as possible. Because I'm finding it like absurdly fun.
Agreed, man. Like it's great, and I think it always feels good to go back to your main afterwards and like feel like remember why you loved it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like as I say, I've only played like 12 games as Terran this season, but like I know now like why I enjoy Terran so much. Like it's felt so good to play those 12 games as Terran. And the thing is like it's like you said, I think last podcast, of like I think I've shook off some of like the things that were weighing me down, and kind of like I've been playing at such like an elevated level almost, and like have actually increased my MMR this season to 4,500. So
yeah, no, that's it. Like I genuinely think everyone should operate more often, essentially, because I think it quells like balance concerns and frustrations.
Oh, definitely.
Apart from carriers, because carriers are actually bullshit.
You're Protoss!
I know, and I hate carriers, man. I hate PvP because of carriers as well. So it's not even a race issue.
Let's balance wine against my own race. What?
Yeah, man. Fuck Protoss, man. So yeah, there's some really interesting stuff, and but yeah, I think it's an overall good experience for everyone. And again, sometimes it's just damn refreshing to play the game in that way.
I think like after a kind of year of coming back to StarCraft 2, I've really enjoyed my year, but like I think like the last couple of months have been a bit, like the last month especially, has been a bit of a slog, and that's like one of the reasons I kind of wanted to off race for a while, and it's really like invigorated my love for the game again. Like I wasn't going to like quit again just so that EXO has no concerns about that. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I think like it's reinvigorated me to like be better at the game again, which to be honest, like for a while there I was thinking, maybe this is like my limit, this is like where I feel comfortable, but now I feel like pushing myself a bit more. So
Yeah, and that's the same for me as well. I want to make sure I want to get more solidly in Masters with Protoss, and then eventually my life goal with StarCraft is to get all 3 races as Masters. That's something I want to do.
awesome.
So yeah, and wow, that was a wholesome roundup.
Yeah, I think like we should end on this note because I feel really good about this.
No, it's great.
Yeah, so thank you anyone for listening to us ramble on for probably over 2 hours, and again apologies for like the tech switch halfway through because of issues with Discord. Hopefully it's fixed.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's fixed for next time, but who knows.
Yeah, I think it will be. Hopefully.
Anyway, thanks guys.
All right, cheers. Yeah.
We will see you on the next Depot show.
Thank you very much.